Welcome back everybody to Cryptocurrency School, where we keep you up to date with everything going on in the cryptocurrency market. In today's video, we'll be covering all the top news stories for the second week of June 2025 in less than 10 minutes. So let's get right into it, starting with the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin is currently sitting at around $105,000 and Ethereum has crossed $2,500 as of the filming of this video. Now, some of you may be asking why the price of Bitcoin hasn't gone down considering the state of the world. I mean, there are tons of things going on in the Middle East right now. There's an escalation in Israel and Gaza. There are protests in France. And here in the United States, we're still dealing with our ongoing debt ceiling issues and the uncertainty about the future of our country. I think that all of these events should be driving risk out of the markets and Bitcoin's price down. But honestly, we haven't seen that much movement in the Bitcoin price at all this past week. So let me explain why I think that is. First off, what we've been seeing this entire year is the price of Bitcoin consolidating between $100,000 and $110,000. We've been stuck in this range since the beginning of the year. And I think that both bulls and bears have gotten used to this type of trading. Bulls know that if they can hold Bitcoin above $100,000, then the next target is $110,000. And if bears can push the price below $100,000, then the next target is $90,000. So until we see one side break through the current equilibrium or the balance of power between bulls and bears, we're probably going to continue to see Bitcoin consolidating in this $100,000 to $110,000 range. Now, Ethereum had a much different week. This past week, Ethereum rose above $2,500. The Ethereum price is actually up around 8% over the past 7 days. It's been really cool to see that strength because most of the time when we do get these large-scale liquidations like we saw early in the week, that does tend to affect the price of Ethereum more so than the price of Bitcoin. So, it's nice to see that strength in the price of ETH. Speaking of liquidations, let us go ahead and talk about what happened earlier in the week when a massive amount of people got liquidated on both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So early this week, a lot of traders were caught off guard as the crypto market experienced a sharp pullback. What happened was a combination of factors leading to this drop in prices and triggering a cascade of liquidations. Now, let's first look at the global situation. Geopolitical tensions in the Middle East region spiked this week, which led to uncertainty in traditional markets such as stocks and oil. As a result, investors moved away from riskier assets, including crypto, causing prices to dip. The conflict between Israel and Palestine reached a critical point, and the United States government shut down due to the debt ceiling crisis added further uncertainty to the mix. Then there were protests in France and other parts of the world that also drove risk out of the markets. When these events take place, large-scale institutional players will start closing their positions and getting ready to weather the storm. When they do this, they tend to move billions of dollars out of the markets and into safer assets. The problem is when they sell, it tends to cause a domino effect. They'll sell, which causes retail investors to sell, which causes even more institutions to sell, and it becomes this snowball effect. On the technical side of things, the sell pressure started when Bitcoin briefly dipped below $103,500. This triggered a cascade of liquidations with over $1.16 billion worth of leveraged positions being closed out. Bitcoin dropped below $104,000 and Ethereum fell below $2,300. The liquidations affected both spot and derivatives markets, with Bitcoin seeing a 24-hour liquidation volume of around $674 million and Ethereum around $488 million. So what does this mean for us? Well, in the short term, we could see continued volatility while traders reevaluate their positions in light of these global events. However, it's important to remember that market sentiment can change quickly, and although we did see a large amount of leverage get liquidated, we didn't see the price drop all that much. A drop from $105,000 to $103,500 is not that big of a deal compared to what we've seen in the past. The fact that the price of Bitcoin didn't drop all that much while all that leverage was getting liquidated tells me that there's still plenty of liquidity in the market, and that gives me hope that we could bounce back sooner rather than later. Alright, so moving on, let's talk about some positive news in the industry. This week, two major crypto bills are making progress in the US Congress. The first bill is called the GENIUS Act and the second bill is called the CLITY Act. These acts are aiming to regulate stablecoins and provide a clearer regulatory framework for the crypto industry in the United States. Now, I know that a lot of you don't like how the government is involved in crypto. But I personally believe that this type of regulation is exactly what we need right now to help grow this industry and help more people understand what cryptocurrencies are and how they work. The more we can get this type of legislation passed, the more we can build this infrastructure, the more confidence people will have in crypto, and the faster the industry will grow. Next up, major exchanges like Coinbase and OKX are close to securing their MiCA licenses in Europe. MiC stands for Markets in Crypto Assets, and it is the European Union's regulatory framework for crypto assets. This move will allow them to expand their services to other European countries and open up a whole new market of opportunity. Moving on to altcoins, we're seeing a lot of momentum in decentralized exchanges like PancakeSwap, Cetus, and Uniswap. There's a renewed interest in low-cap projects and altcoins under $1. For example, Cubetics is up over 30% this week. Shiba Inu is up over 20%. Jack Levine's favorite altcoin, Oh My God Network, is up over 20%. Bonk is up over 15%, and so is Pomerium. Basically, if you're looking for an altcoin to invest in, I recommend following some influencers in the space and trying to find out what they like. That way you can jump on a coin early before everyone else finds out about it. Next, let us talk about something that happened this week that I think is a huge win for the entire cryptocurrency space. The Ethereum Foundation has pledged $500,000 to support the legal defense of the Tornado Cash developer, Roman Storm, who is facing legal challenges in the United States. Now, if you're not familiar with what happened with Roman Storm, he is the developer behind the popular cryptocurrency mixing service Tornado Cash. He was charged by the United States government back in June 2023 with conspiring to launder money and evade sanctions. Since then, he has been fighting these charges, and the Ethereum Foundation is now stepping in to help him do that. Now, this is a big deal for several reasons. First, it shows that the Ethereum Foundation is willing to stand up for the developers that build on the Ethereum network. Second, it highlights the importance of privacy in the cryptocurrency space. Privacy is essential for users to protect their financial autonomy and security. And third, it demonstrates the potential impact of regulations on the development and innovation in the industry. The case against Roman Storm has raised concerns that open-source software developers could face prosecution for creating tools that can be used for illegal activities. So hopefully this $500,000 from the Ethereum Foundation can help him fight his charges and ultimately prevail. Lastly, let us finish off this week's recap with some interesting news involving some of the biggest names in the space. Circle, the company behind the USDC stablecoin, went public earlier this week. But here's the thing, the stock actually went up over 300% on its first day of trading. Circle priced its shares at $9 per share, raising $1.2 billion. But then after pricing, the stock started to trade at $13 per share and it eventually closed out the day at $31.50 per share. Now this is good news for other companies like Gemini and Kraken who are planning to go public because it shows that there is a ton of investor interest in the cryptocurrency space right now. And that if you're a reputable company you should have no issue going public and raising a ton of capital for your business. As we look ahead to next week, there are a few things to keep in mind. The overall market sentiment remains bullish, but it is important to stay aware of the ongoing global events and how they might affect the market. Institutional money continues to flow into the space and regulatory clarity is improving. Plus, innovation in DeFi and layer 2 solutions continues to push the industry forward. If you guys enjoyed this video and you learned something about the cryptocurrency market, make sure you hit that like button. Also, if you want to learn more about cryptocurrency, make sure you head over to our website where you can take our free DeFi for Beginners course. You'll learn all about how to use decentralized applications, how to earn passive income with your crypto, and more. And finally, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our channel because we publish educational cryptocurrency content every single day. With that said, I will see you tomorrow in the next video.